Welcome to the Screen Rot Podcast, the podcast where we discuss the weirdest and worst content that's been right on our screens and indeed our minds. I'm here as ever with Jake Farrell.
Screen Rot Boys, back again. Screen Rot Boys, tell a friend.
Yes.
We haven't recorded in a little while, have we? We had a few in the bank.
Yeah.
There's been a few developments since. Things have been going on.
Yeah. It's always the way. I wish we could record every week, but we don't really have time.
I don't actually mind.
You've been, look, can we just address before we start?
Please.
You've been in this house 15 minutes. And
Yeah,
your
feels
blood
like 15
pressure.
fucking years. I've got some sad news for the Screen Rot
cat's winding
Enterprises.
you up, isn't she?
Mango has been fired from Screen Rot Enterprises. We will be commencing an employment tribunal. Mango has gone, Kel Surprise, 4 weeks of living with Jacob Hawley, has gone from a calm, beautiful kitten into a fucking nightmare.
She's like teenage at the moment. She's fucking mad, man.
She's scaring me.
She was on the hash pipe with me last night.
Don't bring the hash pipe. Leave the hash pipe out.
So this
I'm
is
gonna have
this
to
is
pixelate that.
no.
That's an illegal piece of drug paraphernalia.
I bought this in an off license near me. This is a crack pipe that I bought my mother-in-law to put in her stocking at Christmas. So I thought it'd be funny. And then lo and behold, a few weeks later, my missus and my kids are away. And last night I thought I'd have a little honk on that with a bit of hash in there. Very tasty.
Yeah, just admit to smoking illegal drugs on the podcast.
I don't think that's illegal, is it?
What are you talking about? Of course it is.
Smoking hash isn't illegal.
Yes, it is.
No, you can't go to jail for that. That's not illegal.
It fucking is.
Fucking not.
Oh my god.
No, it's like you go, fucking going 73 on the motorway is not illegal, is it?
It is.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who tunes in. But a specific thank you has to go out to a gentleman who messaged us a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Have you got the messages?
I've got the message here, yeah.
So basically, I run the Instagram. I run the Instagram.
Yeah.
I deal with
Jacob's
the trolls.
head of social media. Jacob's head of fucking getting us sued for libel every day of the week.
Mate, do you know what happens? And I'll talk about this. We need to keep the intro succinct. Fucking 3 minutes gone already. A lot of what's been happening recently, I've been getting into arguments with people on there because we did the hardest geezer.
Yeah.
You'd be fucking blown away by how many people try and defend him. We didn't even say anything. We were like, no one likes him. And no one does, apart from these 3 fucking weirdos who come in our comments defending him. And then I try and start a fight with them. And then they always leave. They just report you straight away. As soon as you swear at them, as soon as you threaten them, as soon as you say...
I think that's within their rights.
As soon as you say you're a traveller and you're going to find them, they start... Anyway.
Yeah.
But we got a nice message. We get lots of nice messages. We have to make sure we remember the positive and forget the bad. But Johnny Hugel.
Johnny Hugel's been in touch, and
Johnny's a listener.
And I think this is to say the last few weeks, the last month, it's kind of picked up a bit of speed, getting a few more kind of nice. Put the fucking crack pipe away, idiot.
It's nice to hold. You know what I mean? You know when you're quitting smoking, they give you that little plastic.
I don't
thing.
know about quitting smoking. No. And so there's been a lot of nice messages with like a lot of follows on Spotify, a few nice 5-star reviews.
Some of the most gorgeous and sexy women in the world.
Yeah, I still don't know what that bit is about. Whether that's designed to rile me up or a line, I still don't know. Frankly, I don't care. I think Mango might be behind that bit, but. We got this incredible message from Johnny Hugel that really kind of, I guess it just made my weekend when you sent it over to me. I think it was probably about 10 days ago now. But we got this message. It reads as follows.
Don't read it all because there's some of it you might want to...
Well, I'll be careful. In the month of March, I bought illegal drugs for Jacob Hawley. No, in the month of March, I listened to every episode of the podcast. It was a weird month.
Yeah, that's the bit I was going to say. I think something might have happened to
I don't
him.
think anything's happened to him. I think he's literally just like saying it's a fucking weird thing to do. And it is weird listening to all of them. It's weird doing them. I can only imagine what it's like listening to them. He said, my friends and I have a Rotter Talk WhatsApp group, so I decided to cap off the
That's
month.
amazing, by the way. Him and his mates have made a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, we've made it. It doesn't get any better than that. They decided to rank every episode in order. But he said he didn't rank the episodes, as you might imagine, on how much I liked them. I ranked them on how much you two hate each of the creators you discussed, in order. All the way from Jeremy Vine at the top to the bootlegger at the bottom.
Yeah.
Now, we actually, and he said also, by the way, P.S. you were too hard on poor old Todd. He's just trying to enjoy a super yummy deep dish pizza in peace.
No, it's kind of a piss take, but I also kind of agree. I do think we were harsh.
Yeah, I look back on that now, and I think comparatively, like, Todd looks like a walk in the park.
So do you want to go through this spreadsheet quick? So basically, the lads have ordered who they think we hate the most. And I think it's interesting reading this to be like, what did we get across, and do we agree? So they've got Jeremy Vine as the most hated person in the sort of 30 episodes that they've ranked.
So up till that point, we'd done 27 episodes, I think, 28 episodes, and they'd ranked all of them. And I agree with the rankings broadly, but it's the classifications of the rankings that are the particular genius of this thing.
In this spreadsheet, they've got like another column where they've kind of... They've ranked the name of the episode by which ones we hate the most.
Yes.
Then what are the other columns on the spreadsheet?
Just the name and just the number. And then the final one is...
When you say the number, that's like which
episode it was in the history of the podcast. And then there's the classification. So number 1, Jeremy Vine, top of the tree.
Yeah.
He's been ranked as Ticker Exploded.
Well, it nearly did. It nearly did. I think if I was to add a detail onto that, it's Cycling Mikey who's like
the ticker explosion.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a good rank. So that was like, there are people we hate so much that is very detrimental to Jacob's physical health, and that was when you were having your ticker troubles.
It was actually. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny thing to consider?
Then going down the list, we've got the spoken word poet, who I won't name.
The fair. Who's bang up there? I had nothing nice to say about him.
Didn't have anything nice to say about him.
Yep.
And he's been ranked as legal action against Jacob. Which is, I think, again...
I think he's Live Nation as well, so we're stablemates now. And if he's at the Christmas party, he can have a fucking... he can meet a traveller.
And... so much editing to do on this intro. Then there's then it starts to get into where people have like a numerous.
This is brilliant, by the way.
This is unbelievable.
Thank you to Johnny and the boys for doing
numerous people have got this rating. Yeah. This rating is just simply despise. And under those we've got Mashtag, Coach Carnivore Cam, Straker, The Family, Lewis Saunderson, Top Jaw. Don't disagree with any of those.
Saunderson. So again, Saunderson, I think we could revisit now, and I do kind of love him a bit. Straker follows me on Instagram now, so I don't know if I can
despise him.
But no, I think the boys have got that right. Yeah.
And then the next one is possibly my favourite one. This one, they've bucketed together freaks, posh blokes and sellouts.
It's like, Father Jack, not Father Jack, sorry, Father Ted, when he's like at the wedding, not the wedding, the awards do. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Anyway.
But that's great. And in there we've got Andy Elliott, What Will He Cook, Eating with Todd, Bevo, Pete BOC, and James English. Freaks, posh blokes and sellouts.
Yeah, again, Bevo.
Well, if we're offering thoughts on ranking here, I don't want to influence the boys whatsoever. This is their piece of scholarship. This is their work. And I respect their opinions. We're just offering, we're not asking for anything to be changed. We'd never dream of that, would we?
No.
We want the spreadsheet to continue and stay the same. Then we're tipping over into positive feelings now. So these people have been classified, and I cut this perfect wording. Soft Spot, which I like. Tony P in DC, Dan Bennett, Eddie Abu, Davis Clark, Ahmed Yacoub. This is listing these names back. It's just fucking mad. AFTV Robbie, CBS Galazzo. I like that.
Yeah.
Like all of those.
Agree,
then we're getting into even more positive. They've colour coded these as well. This one's gone green. Warms the heart. We've got John the Food Don.
Yes.
Big John.
Yes.
Mikey Menace.
Oh yeah.
Then their own classification, all of their own, which again totally agree with, is El Burrito Monster. He's listed under Rotter's Convert.
yeah. Well, he's been converted into a rotter, hasn't he?
We love El Burrito Monster. Like we said, he's going to be cooking a 3-course meal for everyone that comes to the live show in August. So we look forward to that. And now, these are the best. Snowy Danger is listed as the solution to men's mental health.
Which is true, and that's exactly, he has solved men's mental health, which is an epidemic.
Which is an epidemic, by the way, which we're intense sufferers of due to our president-in-chief, Mango the Cat. Finally, and this one is in a league of his own, really, was the bootlegger, Spiritual King of Christmas.
Yes. Yeah, well, listen, it's like...
It's Bob on, isn't it?
It's Bob on, and a moment of sincerity. But we're not being paid for this. We're Well,
famously.
Well, no, but I mean, you start something like this and you think to yourself, right, do a few months, see if people enjoy it, connect with it, see if it's got potential, and then take it from there.
Yeah.
And it's huge.
And of course, you've got to enjoy doing it. You've got to enjoy coming to a place and being stress-free, not being attacked by a cat, not having lighting troubles every week. So it's really about that. It's those two things. If you get those two things, you're a real sweet spot.
But what I'm trying to say is I'm incredibly grateful to the lads for...
it's amazing. Warmed our hearts.
And we'll look forward to seeing them at the live event, I think.
Yeah, and with their permission, Screen Rock fans, I will link to the Google Doc of the spreadsheet.
Yes.
In the episode description.
Yeah, so everyone can have a look.
Everyone can have a look, and nothing would give me greater pleasure than for this to be updated into the future.
I hope it will.
And what we could do is we could periodically return to it.
See where we are.
See if anyone's knocked...
See where Johnny and the boys have got us.
See if anyone's knocked Jeremy Vine and Cycling Mikey off the top spot, the coveted top spot. Do you know what the vibe is of it? Do you remember on Top Gear when they used to do the thing?
The stick! Yeah. Can you beat the stick around the track? Yeah. That's great. So let's use that to pivot into who we're talking about this week.
Yeah, this is a good one.
This week we've got someone who's hugely viral at the moment.
Oh, massive.
And I don't... I'm thinking about the spreadsheet now, and I'm like, where's he? Where does he go?
He's definitely not the spiritual king of Christmas.
He's a bang in the middle man. He is a celebration of everything that's normal and average. He is the hero of the everyday. This week we're talking about
Hub's Life.
Hub's Life. Oi! Get on this.
Please.
Hub's Life is an industry plant in the sense that he has been created to trick us all into thinking a 9 to 5 is something to celebrate rather than something to resent. And actually, rather than hating that, like how people are like, the world's become Orwellian.
Yeah,
they're making Amazon supermarkets where you can just walk in and out, and it will just charge your account, and that's a bad thing.
Yeah, the free speech people like to talk about Orwell a lot, don't they?
And every time they're like, we've got overlords who are trying to trick us into doing these things. Every time I'm just like, sounds sick. And that's my attitude towards Hub's Life. I think he probably is a plant. I reckon he was created by the Chinese government to make us all become like worker drones.
Or the American government.
Check in, check out. Yeah, well, I don't know.
One of them.
They're all pals. And actually, I love it.
You don't mind it?
I love it. I like it, man. I like celebrating the ordinary. Yes. I like celebrating the everyday.
Right.
I like doing a bit of work and enjoying it.
So that's
I don't have a job. That has to be stressed. No, but I do like.
I love celebrating a 9 to 5. I've never had a 9 to 5 in my life.
I do work, and I like a clock in, clock out, and I think fuck it. Hub's Life is good. I don't know. What's your? Everyone knows Hub's Life. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you've seen the clip. It's like, an everyday. It
actually doesn't usually have a voiceover, or
no. There'll be text, and it'll be like, "This is what it's like being a guy in your late 20s with a 9 to 5. You wake up, you have your cup of coffee, you go to work, blah blah blah, and then at the end, it's like rather than going out, you stay in.
Yeah,
growing up is weird.
And his kind of two, I would say, almost visual catchphrases, because he doesn't talk, but he has these visual catchphrases. Is he very slowly? I always thought it was very strange. He very slowly inserts his laptop into his bag in a very kind of fluid motion, and then takes it out again when he gets to the office.
That's what we'll get onto.
And we'll get onto that in a minute. And the other thing is he'll have what he calls a cold snack, which is usually a light beer, like one of the American beers. It's like a 2% beer or whatever. And like you say, he is very celebratory of the normal, and it's got this kind of ambient, soothing music in it.
It's almost quite sad music.
Well, this is the funny thing. It's like, if you did watch it without the subtitles, you might be like, and lots of the comments I noticed when I researched this, and there's been news articles written about it as well, are like, you look like you want to kill yourself.
Yeah. And what's really interesting, actually, I saw it get shared onto Twitter, and I think it's so interesting when things move between the different platforms, the way people react to it.
Yeah.
On Twitter, Twitter, I saw someone had like clipped it, and they'd clipped out the captions.
Right.
So it was just like sad music, watching him get up, make a coffee, go.
Yeah.
And the thing with this guy, we'll call him Hubs. We don't know what his fucking name is.
Yeah, I think let's call it.
He
wants to be known
wears
by
the
that.
most like vacant, miserable expression on his face for the whole thing, and couple that with the fact that it's like sort of like a piano cover of Coldplay playing in the background. Someone clipped that about the captions and then put it on Twitter, and they just put, "This man is going to kill himself very soon." When actually, if you eventually read the captions and like the text that he puts on it, he loves it.
And it's gone a bit, as with everything. I mean, we're slowly formulating our theory of the internet. And like one of the key theories of the internet, if anyone wants to make another spreadsheet, go right ahead, is like everything becomes mental health in the end. And it started becoming like that, where he's like, he posted one the other day and it was like, a test of your life is not how much you need or how much you have, but how little you need to be happy, is what he's saying. So like you don't need to be a millionaire, you don't need to have 10 Bugattis or whatever the Andrew Tate kind of maximalist method of capitalist consumption is. Hubs, he likes a cold snack.
Yeah.
And he likes messing around with his dog a bit.
Goes to the gym. Yeah.
And that's what he likes. And to go back to your point, I do like that.
Yeah.
And increasingly, and as I've become culturally irrelevant, now I'm 32 and I don't know shit about anything. Now I'm happy to like be like, I don't care about any of that anyway.
Mate. So but that's really it. And I think it's really interesting that there's another guy who we haven't done, and I don't know if we are going to do. There was another guy who went viral recently. I don't know if you'd remember this. I think I sent it to you. There was an Irish guy who made a reel about like living in London.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you know which one it is? And it's.
I'm not going to say what message you attached to the. I think you were like, fucking leave then. Or something.
No. I didn't say that. No.
Maybe the person who you attached it to. Yeah.
So basically, if people haven't seen it, there's this Irish guy who makes a thing of like, living in London is starting to make me feel a bit lonely. I've lived here for 10 years. I do a 9-to-5 job that I don't really love, but I just do it to make enough money. I used to go out every night. Now I run every weekend for the same thing. I'm seeking connection. And he's like, instead of money on beers, I spend my money on coffees and croissants. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if this is
describing my life, to be fair.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it's describing everyone's life. But basically, it's just like, can you bottle down the tiny existential crisis you have around the age of 30 about the fact that you go out less and you stay in a bit more? That's basically it, right? Except Hub's life has done it in a, this is sick.
Yeah.
Whereas this fucking miserable Irish prick had done a whole lot, I don't know if this is right for me. And the thing that I love the most is what I'd sent to you and what you're referring to is the top comment from someone who did live in London just commented going, fuck off then. Fuck off then, get out. But I think that's and I don't know how deliberate this is, and we'll get onto this in a minute, but like, what's interesting about Hub's life is there is this sort of strange melancholic tone to it. Like it's almost a bit kind of like film noir, kind of like indie.
It's like, very aesthetically like defined.
Yeah, well, there's almost a kind of like a juxtaposition between the kind of the soothing ASMR visuals of like softly putting the laptop into the bag, make the coffee,
pet the dog,
but then the kind of slightly sad music. But then it's the message is kind of, I'm very content.
This
with
is the best life ever.
I really like it. It's good. It's nice. And you know, this is another American guy, and you know, in the Pookie episode, we spoke about how, you know, mate, I don't know whether I want to say more so than here, but certainly in America there is a huge divide between people who have and people who have not. And I think what's to compare this to Pookie and her husband, whose name we have fucking no idea what it is. We spent a whole episode calling him Glenn. Is it Jet?
His name's Jet. And I listened back to it, and we
called him Jeff at one point.
No, I think we stopped calling him Glenn, and then at one point I just changed and started calling him Jeff.
What's funny is sometimes people give us like a negative comment. Where it's only ever when we take the piss out of someone that they're like a fan of, and they're like, "You just don't know what you're talking about." It's like, yeah, we don't. And guess what? We don't give a fuck. We don't care. We'd
like to apologise to absolutely nobody. But like that was, I think we issued a an apology
Yeah, we did.
on the episode. We put
Well,
one.
we
put
did
a
a
little
disclaimer at the top.
disclaimer at the
got
top.
kind of things wrong.
And I did think as we were putting that there, I was like, we're on pretty shaky ground here because we're going to be having to add a disclaimer to every
Who
fucking
fucking
episode.
cares? What, are the BBC going to sack us? They can't because they won't hire us. They used to. The point is, I was trying to make the point to make the comparison with Pookie Puckett and her husband, whoever
Jeff.
the fuck he is. That I think what we found a bit kind of distasteful about them and a bit gross,
right,
is their kind of, what are you wearing?
Right.
You look fire. Forget what's happening outside because we've bought a new jacket, right? Which is kind of grim. Whereas I think with this guy, with Hub's life, there's a gratitude.
100%.
And he never actually acknowledges, look, I know this feels a bit ordinary and average, but fucking hell, there's people who've got it a lot worse than me, and at least I've got a job. But
implicit
to
in
me,
his,
that's implicit.
Yeah,
to
right.
me, that is implicit. And maybe he doesn't mean that to come across, but that's certainly what does come across.
Yeah, yeah.
We should watch the first one.
Yeah, we've talked a bit about like the kind of the standard Hub's life video. This is the first one that he made that like he kind of amassed a bit of a following. But this one,
it's quintessential Hub's life.
so we'll just kind of narrate it because it says POV, you're 29, you live for your morning coffee,
Sad music.
you love your 9 to 5 job, nice pressed shirt on.
Doesn't look like he loves it, by the way.
No,
It does look like
your
he can
dog
kill
is your
himself.
best friend.
You work out for your mental health, which is thriving, judging by the look on your face.
Friends are starting to move on is very sad.
Months are flying by like days. That's true. You prefer staying in on a Friday night, and he's got some mad mood lamp that he puts on.
Baby light.
Growing up is weird. Now, do you remember when we did Straker?
Yeah.
We were like, there was one where we were like, he's literally grated a tomato onto a piece of toast.
Yes.
It's the most plain, nothing dish that you're not getting anything from this recipe. You're not learning how to do anything.
Yeah.
You've not enriched your life. You've not gone, oh wow, I didn't know that. Or
Yeah.
you've not laughed. You've not smiled. It's just, but it's filmed and edited, and like the kind of noises with Straker with the thing we picked up.
Yeah,
on,
right.
There was always like a chop, great. Da,
Da, bang,
toast,
douche,
ding,
blah.
bop.
I know what the reel is for next week.
This is visual.
Yes.
This is the visual equivalent.
Yeah.
That is the most boring day I've ever seen anyone have. And he looks miserable.
Yeah, but like you say, I think you're onto something about, because the algorithm ends up dictating the form of the videos, right? Because someone hit on the ASMR cooking thing with the like bosh, bang, dun dun bang thing, and then that engages people and people don't skip it.
Yeah.
So that means people go, oh, that gets engagement, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and it's a
he's
trend.
gone, yeah, exactly. He's gone in completely the opposite direction. He's got about 4 shots in the whole thing. There's no quick editing in it. It's got really like calming music, no voiceover.
Yeah,
He's
you're
creating like a
right,
new visual
A new
grammar.
language.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it's everything is done softly and precisely,
Right.
and correctly.
But that's not really how life
No,
is
exactly.
it?
That's the point. It's like he slides the laptop perfectly into the laptop pouch
Yeah, the little
in the
bit.
back
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
backpack, right? He gets his coffee and the coffee drips directly into the centre of his mug. Do you know what I mean? When
Based on your evidence of life,
Right,
how often does that
it'd be
go
a
like
fucking
that?
mess. like if I tried to make this video, that's the thing. If I tried to make like a real version of this video, it'd be me waking up because my children are just like pulling at my face and screaming at me. I'd be like staggering out of my bedroom, with one toddler hanging off me, the other one screaming that I'll grab them, my missus trying to get back to sleep, and us having a kind of like unspoken anger at each other for one sleeping and the other having the kid. Then like the morning coffee, like my daughter would be screaming at me that she wants a bottle, and I'd be like, you're 3, you can't have a bottle. And I'd fuck it up and it would spill everywhere, and then I'd spill the milk and that'd be wrong, and blah blah blah.
And what's Mango doing in all this?
Then I'd try and get my laptop in the bag. I'd snag it on the corner, I'd push it, I'd get pissed off, then I'd realise the fucking cat is in the pouch of the laptop pouch. That's why the laptop won't go in. So I'd pull this Bengal cat out.
Yeah.
She goes smart.
There's a crack pipe in there.
In terms of going to work, it wouldn't be like relaxed sort of sitting there. It'd be like apologising to people for being late, and then go, oh god, I don't really have time. I've got to go. And I guess the point is, in the same way that like when you make a dish, it never sounds as nice as Straker makes it feel. You never go tick, ding, right? Like life isn't how Hub's life portrays it.
No.
It's Don't get in the fucking car. No. Sorry, I'm late. I won't be late again. I don't have time to go to the gym. Why do you get to go to the gym? I don't get to go to the gym. You have to look after the kids. Why don't I look after the kids? Go to bed, do it all again tomorrow. It's like, I often make this comparison that, like, in the same way that in like the 90s and noughties, we had this whole body image thing.
Right.
That was like a big thing, especially with women.
Paris Hilton, that kind of thing.
Right, and it was like, we have to change like print media. It was like, oh, we're only ever portraying women's bodies in a way that they never really are.
Yeah.
Right. We have to
Bundes
start
didn't exist then.
Right. She's in the Bundesliga. But we have to portray real women. And then we started, like, we had the conversation with pornography. People talk about that with porn when they're like, you know, in porn it's all, you know, men's penises are this side and women's bodies are like that and women's sound like this and real sex isn't like that. We have to accept that. Life isn't as aesthetically pleasing as social media wants us to believe it is. And that's like the new one. And I do believe what will start happening soon is people will start having negative opinions of their own life. They won't really be able to articulate it in their minds because it's not as smooth and nice as like, Hub's life makes you think it is.
But this is, I think that's been a thing for a while, but I think what you're hitting on is something is an extension of that, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, life is never as good as social media makes out, because when you look at your mate's social media, they only post when they're on holiday in Greece.
Right, but
this is even different to that, which is like, he's doing the most banal, most boring day ever, and life still isn't as good as he makes it look.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, years ago it was like people just post their wins, people just post their holidays. It's not like that. This guy's posting like the most 6 out of 10 average day, and I'm still being like, it's not like that. Yeah, 3 years ago, people were like, people don't go on a holiday every 2 months. I'm going, people can't get their laptop in the pouch in the backpack.
Your documentary about social media for BBC Three. People cannot get their laptops in their bags. Yeah. They can't.
Me and Roman Kemp walking around go, this is the thing, like, your mates think, you know, always just portray when they're winning, when they're doing well in life. What about the days when you can't get the laptop in the pouch because Mango the cat's eating it?
Me being interviewed by Roman Kemp after you've run off to like live in Vietnam or something, going, yeah, I know he's just struggling getting his laptop in his bag every day. It was just really getting him down. He'd watched too much Hub's Life.
I think the reaction to Hub's Life is very interesting because there's a real split, and it's I always find the American commenters the most interesting because I think they've got a better view of it. Because it's like I don't actually. I mean, one thing I do clock with him, he's always like home by 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. He's like average 9 to 5, so he gets there at 8, and he literally knocks off at 4 o'clock. Do you know anyone who does that?
Sometimes earlier, and
he's in the gym by 5.
15-minute commute. 15-minute
No wonder
commute.
He's fucking loving it.
Yeah, well, no, but this is the thing. I think this is like the kind of lesson to learn from Hub's Life. It's like, what's the key to happiness? Do you need to meditate? It's like, no, you just need to get home in 15 minutes.
I think. So do you know
clock
what?
Off at 4.
That is. I don't know about the clocking off thing. I read a thing about there's a study, and one of the most indicative things of having a long life.
We'll be there in 2 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, keep talking.
One thing is the most indicative thing about having a long life. Oh God, yeah.
Just because I could feel it coming. I could feel it coming. The wisdom bell.
The wisdom bell's in the mix. One of the most indicative things about having a long life is if you can walk to work.
Really?
That's like a massive, massive thing. People hate travelling, people hate the stress, people hate the uncertainty. If you know every morning that your thing is going to be that long, your commute is going to be that long, you're laughing. And that's probably what Hub's Life has tapped into with the simplicity of his setup. He does 3 things. He goes to work, pops the laptop in the bag, unlike you can't get in there, Mango's in there. And then he has a bit of time in the gym. He's in fantastic shape as well. Why are they always in fantastic shape?
Yeah, do you know, he's in what I would call actor shape.
Go on, say more.
You'd never look at him and go, he's hench. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
But in the same way as like actors who play like normal guys in American films.
Yeah.
You never look at them and go, oh yeah, they're ripped. And then they take the shirt off and you're like, what the fuck? And they're like 38. And it's not like ripped, but it's just like, it was perfect.
Yeah,
and then you read like an interview they do with the Metro, and it's like, yeah, I train for 3 hours a day.
Yeah, that's
and
all I do.
What, just to look like that? Yeah. And it's like, just to look normal. And but anyway,
to be like the fourth banana on ER.
You're right. He's in shape.
Mm. And like I said, it's kind of gone into this wisdom thing, right? And into this like mental health thing. Should we watch the next one? Because that kind of addresses that. So he can't kind of just have this normal day thing. It's now about applying it to the vagaries of mental health.
There's laptop in.
Laptop in. Easy as you like.
So it turns out you don't need to quit your job. This is the text on the screen. You don't need to quit your job. You don't need to escape the matrix. Fucking off that anti-type. And you don't need to be a millionaire by 30 either.
He's microwaving some pizza for his lunch.
Turns out
His
the
music.
grass is greener where you water it.
I think this is the one where I got the phrase from.
Use your 9 to 5 to build the life you want. Find joy in the small things. He's just driving home now. Be thankful for what you do have. He's got a dog. He fucking loves the dog. He loves that dog. And take it one day at a time. He's put a t-shirt and shorts on. Success is not based on who has the most, but who needs the least.
Hub's life.
Wow.
Hub's life for president.
Yeah.
I had a really strong vision in that of just one week, Thursday morning, when they usually upload to YouTube. It's just that music, but with slow motion images of me, and then at the end, just Jake Farrell 91 to 2000. Killed by Mango the cat in a grievous podcasting accident.
It feels like I mean, look, that one especially. I tread a bit of a line with it, where there are times where I'm like, yeah, and then there are times where I'm like, oh, it is bleak actually. Like,
so because you said at the top, right? You respect and you like the kind of 9 to 5 or
appreciation
working
of it,
but
yeah.
your life is you. Don't take this the wrong way. Be like, you work incredibly hard, right? You do a lot of work, but you don't have a predictable 9 to 5
what was
job.
It you said on our group chat the other day? You're like, Jacob's always either down the pub.
What?
I don't remember which day it was, but you were like, you're always either. I mean, okay, you want to talk about my life in comparison to this? Well, one thing you've said in the past is that I drive around all day shaking people's hands.
It's what you again talking about, like what you think about people from their social media output. If you were in the lads chat with me and Jacob, you would think all Jacob does is drink Stella and drive an EV around London.
An electric thing. Yeah. Okay. So all right. Well, do you want to do the comparison of my life with him?
With Hub's life.
Yeah. All right. Look.
You've always seemed resistant, not to working, but to the 9 to 5, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay. Right.
And maybe that's
Yeah.
just a factor of like comedy is what you're good at.
Yeah, to be honest, it kind of is. I mean, like, so what you're saying there is it feels strange that I appreciate this so much when it feels like I've spent much of my life trying to avoid what he does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you're saying, and that's fair enough. You can respect people, but not do the same as them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so they don't have to.
So my primary income is doing stand-up.
Yes.
Right, performing at comedy clubs or doing my tour.
Yeah.
I also do podcasts. I do the Kick-Off with True Geordie. I do, a couple of other bits. I do writing.
Bit of writing here and there, yeah.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. There's loads
Voiceovers.
I do voice.
Get
Yeah,
in touch,
yeah,
see Terry voices.
So basically, I've got a very. I guess I think part of the reason I actually really like this is because you're right. I do have the complete opposite.
Right.
No week is ever the same.
Mm-hmm.
One week I could be doing 4 gigs, one in Manchester, one in Birmingham, one in Bristol, or sometimes I only have 2 gigs and they're both in London. They're nice and easy.
Yeah,
but the days are packed with filming stuff and blah 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 blah. And My life is chaos.
Right.
And a lot of therapists will tell you that when you're in a bit of a hole, and I'm not saying that I am, but when you're in a bit of a hole, you need routine, you need structure.
You do, yeah.
And I really don't have that.
Right.
And to give people a bit more of an insight into my life, I've got 2 very young children. My girlfriend works very freelance. She's got her own business. So any bit of time where I'm not working, she will take the opportunity. I will try and make sure that I give her enough time that she can put as much into her business as she needs to.
Yeah.
But then we try and make sure we're having enough time with our children and with each other. And So I guess I look at this and I'm like, this looks simple.
See what you mean.
And I think so much of what he's trying to celebrate is the simplicity
Yeah.
of a life with a reliable income,
Yeah.
with reliable working hours. And one thing I have to say that I love the sun. I love the sunshine.
You do.
And I'm not sure where Hub's life lives.
I think he's in Dallas.
Well, I mean, look, every time he fucking clocks off work, the sun seems to be shining. And this is how much of a sun lover I am. I can tell by the shadows in the images that the sun is in the middle of the sky still. So it's going to be like, it's not as if the sun's setting and it's like long, and kind of slight golden hour tinge. It's like, it's he's going to have
You're missing your calling. You should be a fucking lighting producer for the telly. No, it's 12 o'clock.
but he's got a good 4 or 5 hours left of sunlight.
Oh, when he's getting home, he's knocking off at 4, and he's doing gym. Then he's going home, walking the dog, still in beautiful sunlight.
Yeah. And I guess I look at it and I'm like, I wish my life was a bit more like that. And I before I was doing stand up and comedy full time, I did all sorts of fucking jobs, be it retail, bar, worked at my old uni. And I think the one thing I've always wanted, and I used to love doing bar work, by the way. And I part own a bar. Me and my best mate own a bar in Tottenham, and sometimes every now and then I'll go and help out and do a shift behind the bar, and I love it. But I've always said, I'm like, if I could do 9 to 5 bar work and make enough money, I would do that for you.
Be happy with it.
I just love 9 to 5.
So
I love clock, and actually, fuck that. I love 8 till 4. That's the real sweet spot. That is so good.
Do you think then, because like you live a very entrepreneurial lifestyle, I'd say it's comedy is your business, but you're an entrepreneur, you are a freelancer, you own your own business. Do you think though, if you then got into you go, I wouldn't mind just 9 to 5, paid sick leave, whatever. Do you reckon if you...
I guarantee I'd hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guarantee I'd hate it.
Yeah.
I know where you were going. I know where you were going. Within a week.
Maybe we all feel like, because sometimes I feel like, I love my job and I'm very lucky and whatever, but sometimes I feel like, I wouldn't mind like that thing of, I could be going to do a gig in Manchester or going, do you know what I mean? Or doing a bit of this and a bit of that. But I reckon I'd be the same. If it was the other way around, I'd struggle after a few months.
Do you know the one thing, and as we're saying, we like the positive, the one thing that I think he misses, which keeps it positive, so it's a lot of office culture. Mm-hmm. It's celebrating office culture.
Yeah.
Now, I think the key to making this seem idealistic and attractive visually is when he's in the office, the camera is on him.
Yes.
You cannot see the other cunts. You cannot see, because that's what destroys office culture.
100%.
That is, I've worked in offices in the past, and if you're in there on your own,
yeah.
Oh boy,
what a day.
Comfy desk
chair. Yeah.
Make as many coffees as you want, slipping in and out of the toilet, no noise, no one annoying you. Sharing an office space with other people,
hell.
Fuck me. And that's what Hub's life misses. That's all of the kind of like the appreciation, the celebration of 9 to 5 culture, sweet. Earning a stable income, nice. But you can't hear the people chewing.
You can't hear Linda from accounts, yeah.
Or the conversation, fucking conversation.
That was what I, like you say, you literally, that's so well observed, there's never, and you can't because they wouldn't give them permission, there's never his colleagues in shot or anything. They're
the reason. They're the reason this life is actually shit.
Can be hard. And that's such a fundamental difference between UK and US culture as well. And that was one of the ways, I like the American office, I thought the American office was really funny.
Yeah.
But they basically bottle it in the end, where the English office is like, you never think at the end, Gareth is tolerable, but him and Tim are never going to be mates. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're never going to be friends. In the end...
And it's tragic that they are.
Right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
That he still has to interact with him.
Yeah.
But like in the end, in the American office, it starts off with like, there's Kevin in accounts and he stinks, and Dwight is a nightmare, and Creed's weird old man. But in the end, they all love each other and they're all best mates. Yeah, we're all family. Yeah. And like, that's fucking not how it is in the UK. We have tribunals in the UK, and we have bitchy WhatsApp groups and people slagging each other off on Facebook.
Absolutely. And it is like when I look back to, because I did do a kind of office job before I was in comedy full time. I worked at my old uni just doing like admin stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't actually mind like a lot. He's like appreciate your job. It's like, I didn't mind the job. It was the people around me while I did it. It was the fucking benign conversations about where you going on holiday then? Nowhere. We're going to Mallorca. Is it hot? Yeah, it's hot. That kind of thing. And
I feel very lucky now because
people
like
eating at a desk,
my
microwaving fish.
Yeah, oh God, that's. I mean that could start World War III actually. Some mackerel in the office that could start.
I was in a
World War
fucking
III.
green room with a comedy gig the other night, and someone just pulled out tuna and started eating tuna, and it's like, and she was like, this stinks, doesn't it? God, it's horrible when people do this. And she's carried on doing it. Fucking put it away. Sorry. You
No,
were gonna say
I was going to say I'm like very, very lucky now. I work with a lot of like-minded people, and I get along with everyone, and it's largely a really pleasurable experience. But I remember those earlier jobs. No, genuinely is. But I remember like earlier jobs. That feeling. I remember I had like an office job when I was kind of in uni, but when I was on holiday from uni, and I worked with a lot of older women, and like they all hated each other. And they were constantly trying to enlist me into like their kind of wars with one another. Have you noticed what she's done? Have you seen what she's done with the cupboard?
That's it.
No, I haven't actually, Sandra.
I don't know whether you're going to want to ding the bell at this, because you might find it to be kind of like ageist and kind of sexist. But older women in offices, it does tend to be them. It kind of does.
Does tend to be them. Actually, and again, and a lot of our podcast is about southeastern culture, I think. Southeast of England culture. Yeah. I don't know if it's the same in other parts of the country, but in the southeast of England, in the areas around London, the older women in offices are a nightmare.
So I think maybe the best observed bit, and it's so funny that we didn't plan this at all, talking about the office in relation to this, but one of the best bits of the English office, I always think of, the woman who's sat near Tim,
who replaces Gareth, when Gareth becomes the manager.
That's it, and she's in the Christmas specials. And there's one bit where she's talking to Dawn, and she goes, "There's nothing worse than an old mum." I think that all the time. Every because the thing is, I where I live in North London, a lot of the parents are a bit older, and I obviously disagree with the sentiment.
But it comes into your head.
It's like the amount of times I walk through the park or I take my daughter to nursery, and that just rings in my head. There's nothing worse than an old man.
there's a scene in it as well where she's just talking, and they kind of zoom in on Tim's face, and he just like staring into the middle distance, and it kind of tunes out the sound, and it's just like, I remember that feeling so accurately. I remember sitting at my desk doing the thing like, yeah, and just in the background, just like being, I just can't believe what she's done. I just don't know why she will have done that. And I've got to go and pick my husband up at that time. There's no way I can be here at that time. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
I should say, by the way, like, as much as I'm like, when I worked in office, like I was definitely one of the worst cunts there. Oh my god! Like I'd arrive like 30 seconds before work had to start. Like I'd say 3 days out of 5 I was hungover.
Right.
I'd be in, I'd sort of say hello, then nip up to the kitchen to make a coffee for 20 minutes, then spend 25 minutes shitting it out again. And one thing I do, I've said this before, I'm a very loud person. When I'm typing, I fucking hammer the keyboard while I do it. I must have driven them all fucking nuts, man. But
Hub's Life loves it. And
Hub's Life.
Well, I think when we get into these people, there's often like the before and the after. We've talked a lot about the before of Hub's Life, kind of creating this aesthetic grammar for like normal life, and kind of, I don't know, what is it? It's kind of normcore, isn't it? But like, I guess that's how you might describe it.
And I think what we're trying to say, what made it such a success is the kind of slight melancholy to
the purity
that came
of it,
from the music,
100%.
that came from his facial expression. And in this next one, I believe, is this the one with the voiceover?
This is the one with the voiceover.
So he gets a voiceover, and it's a voiceover voiced by, and I didn't realise this, someone that we've actually covered already.
Yeah, and so I'll play it, and people can guess. He's on the list. I can't remember where was he ranked.
He's on the list of people that we speak about on this podcast. He was ranked. Sounds like you're saying he's a sex offender. Could be.
I think he was ranked soft spot. He definitely was in the positive end of the spectrum.
But you're going to say try and guess who it is.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say spot how much it ruins it.
Yeah. This is Hub's Life's collab with a soft spot former rotter.
A day in my life as a 29-year-old with a 9-to-5 in Dallas. I kick things off
Doing
with
the
a
arm
solid
rolls.
fit check and some arm rolls to get motivated for the day before packing up to make my morning commute
Still
to the
got the
office,
laptop in there.
which always gets me centered for work. After taking a peaceful sunrise walk from my car, I reached my desk around 7:30, opened my computer up, and began my tasks for the day. After a few hours of working diligently to meet some internal deadlines, I ventured out and grabbed lunch around 1 at my go-to spot, Chili's.
Chili's.
Where today we
It's a really
indulged
American
with a
thing. We don't have
cold
them here,
snack
do we?
to start, and then some
He's having a
burger
beer at
bites that
lunch.
gave me the boost I needed.
He's got the
for
life you
final
dream of,
stretch
isn't he?
of the
Isn't it?
workday.
Cheeseburger.
After giving the hands a good wash, it was then time to
Don't
get back
need
to the
that.
grind for a little longer to finish a few outstanding items on my list before taking off around 4 to make the 15-minute drive back to the house, which is a luxury I can't live without. I then said hi to Benny Boy for a few minutes, as he always brightens my day, and then changed to take him to the park for some exercise. It was such a beautiful day, and
What
since
time's
the
the
park
sun
was
there?
empty, Benny had
Well, there's
free
longer
reign to
shadows
show
there.
off his speed and how he should definitely get a tryout for the Dallas Cowboys. I then spent a few minutes doing chores in the yard to keep things looking pristine, before hitting the road to grab some dinner at Firehouse Subs.
He's eating out twice in one day?
A quick evening shower to unwind. After putting on some comfy clothes, it was time to chow
Wearing a
down
hat
on
inside
dinner.
for no reason. I don't know if I
Tony
can
P's
agree with
glorious salmon, but it was really tasty and hit the spot. I then closed out the night on the couch and watched a little TV before bed.
He drinks a lot of booze.
Yeah. I like that for an American. They rarely do that. They very rarely do that.
They're usually kind of parsimonious.
Thing. Yeah.
For those of you who didn't know, obviously that was Tony P in DC doing the voiceover there. And like
Yes.
Jacob says, completely fucks with it. Completely
I
ruins
think it
it.
fucks it. I think it gets rid of the melancholy and it makes it silly. And I think what really worked for Hub's life is it wasn't silly. It felt very like sincere, and considered.
And there was a poignancy to it that is completely gone
It's
when
gone.
Tony P's like, I have a cold snack.
Yeah, I know. This fucking Looney Tune character going, hey guys, I went to work at 8 o'clock.
There's fucking me about 20 minutes ago being like a fucking film-loving dickhead, being like, he's creating an aesthetic grammar for normality. And then Tony P's like, have some salmon.
Do a shoulder roll. Yeah. I mean, also he has started doing this kind of like wink and point to the camera thing as he's getting ready and combing his hair. I do think that ruins it a bit, but it's kind of the natural thing now. All these like American, all these kind of like American regular Joe content creators, they all hook up now.
Yeah, they love each other.
I mean, like Tony P in DC is collaborated with Davis Clark.
We're going to talk about that in a future episode.
And they're all just kind of like, hey, we're regular working guys who love our life, and that's okay. And I kind of love that. And to sort of get onto the last video in a moment, what has happened we've started, and it was interesting because I kind of teased on our Instagram that we were going to talk about this guy,
Right?
And I think it was actually El Burrito Monster Ollie who replied and was like, you know, the kind of bullshit thing with this guy is he's like, I love my job. I love doing a 9 to 5. I love just having a regular life. It's like, well, you clearly don't love it that much because you're clearly trying to be a social media star.
Yeah, it's so odd.
That's
But do you think that though? Because I wonder, like, and this is the other thing that's going to kind of lead us into the last
it
one.
takes fucking ages. That the one thing we have to say, right, is it's not as if this has taken him 30 seconds to make these reels.
Oh no,
this is like we know,
and I did think that
we
watching,
know this takes fucking hours.
I know. I think the really grim thing, or the really not grim, but like you see him kind of walking into the office, walking into his desk, whatever. He has to obviously, because he doesn't have a camera crew with him, he has to go in, put the phone there, set up the shot, and then he has to act out his life.
Yes.
But he's already done it. Yes. It's like a weird Truman Show kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And that must get depressing. And like you say, I don't know that he could have ever imagined, I feel like I say this every fucking week, I don't know that he could ever imagined where this would have ended up, i.e. he's got like 1 million followers.
Okay, but you say that, but then what you've got ready to read now is, so he put one up the other day, and it was almost like the caption of the video was addressing these accusations. It was almost like he was addressing the kind of like, you know, you say you love your 9 to 5, but you're trying to be a content creator. And within the caption of this video that he posted, he says that he was a professional social media guy for a while.
So you put, like, I'll put this up on the screen as well. So the title of the video is like, when you build a following big enough to leave your 9 to 5, but your content revolves around the 9 to 5, so you can't quit your job. So they're like,
and then he says, read the caption.
Yeah, and then the caption goes, would you quit your job to do social media full time? I get this question all the time. The answer, no, I wouldn't. I love my 9 to 5 as it provides health insurance, steady income, a pension, career and growth opportunities. I enjoy the people I work with, bullshit, and I genuinely like the work that I do. I've been making videos for a very long time as a hobby and a passion. I left the 9 to 5 years ago to pursue videography and social media full time for a startup company. I traveled 2 to 3 weekends a month, filming shows and content non-stop, while also filming and editing content throughout the week. Was making less money than I ever had and was working twice as hard. It got to the point of burnout, and I started to lose the passion for the video, for video that I had always had. I realized my hobby became a job. It wasn't fun anymore. Now, there's some wisdom in there, I think, for people sat in a spare room podcasting.
Yeah, me having a crisis right now.
I ended up going back to corporate America, and I've never looked back. I started documenting my very normal day through this account, and then he puts the kind of mind-blown emoji, and now here we are. Moral of the story, you don't have to quit your job to pursue your other passions. That's a tactic that I've definitely stuck by. A 9 to 5 job is just a chapter in your story, not the entire book.
Well, and this is you kind of flipped it onto me earlier, and to flip it onto you,
Yeah.
I have to say there's something I very much admire about you,
Right.
in that I think you're an amazing comedian.
Thank you.
And you still do stand up.
I
and
do.
You've done stand up
To varying levels of success.
Well, no, you've done stand up like everywhere. You've done some of the best clubs in the country.
Yeah.
You've done the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah.
You've been reviewed well. You've
Yeah.
very important people in comedy really like and appreciate your work.
Yes.
But you also really like your job, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, but the kind of position you're in now is like you want to do both of those things to the best of your ability, but you don't want to let one compromise the other, and so you're quite measured in your approach to comedy.
That's fair.
Which I admire as someone who never had any balance like that.
No, I agree. But then, to be fair, I never got to the stage where I was earning enough money out of it or having a big enough opportunities where I could have made the jump.
But it's chicken and egg. It's because you never
tried. But that's why sometimes
do you know
I
what
sometimes
mean?
wonder about that though, where it's like there maybe was a point before I definitely took my first job at a charity when I was like 23, 24, and then the 2 or 3 years of my second job. Where the job was literally to pay the rent so I could do comedy on the side. And then over time it morphed into I liked the job and I got paid more to the point where but there was a point in the middle where I was like, oh, should I actually just be working in a bar here and just focusing fully on the comedy? And you never know. Like I never, it was a bit of chicken and egg. I tend to think it was more the fact that I just never quite got, or haven't so far got to the point where I could have made the jump. But maybe if I had gone and worked in a bar, things might have been different. But like you say, I'm happy doing the job that I'm doing and I like doing it. I would like to do more comedy here and there, but it's hard to say really. And I think that's the battle for everyone, isn't it? That's the really hard thing. When you do a creative thing that is really hard to get paid for properly, ever. Yeah. It's hard to kind of tip over from hobby into full time, I guess.
Yeah, and I should be very honest and say like the reason I can support a family and live the life I want to live whilst doing comedy is because, fortunately a few years ago I invested a bit of money into a business with my best mate, and that doesn't make us loads of money. It's like but that extra few,
but requires a shitload of hard work as well.
A bit, yeah, but that extra sort of like few hundred quid a month, and when I say a few hundred quid, it really is a few hundred quid. It's nowhere near like a grand or anything a month, but it's like that. That allows.
That makes the difference.
That means my partner can work part time.
And
she can be around for the kids, and so it is like. I do just think it's a very interesting thing that he kind of comes up at there, which is part of a consideration I'm sure loads of people have been like, I've got this kind of like day job thing, but then I've got like another thing that I'd quite like to make my main thing, but do I ever want to make it my main thing? Because then making it the main thing puts stresses and responsibilities onto that as an occupation. And I don't know. I similar to yourself and with Hobbs, I kind of like that thing of. What was the final line? It was like your job doesn't have to define you completely. It can be part of you.
Exactly, and it's like I always think to myself, God, I love more gigs, or whatever. And then
you don't want to go to a gig.
Well,
on an evening after work when you're at home with your partner, enjoying a drink. And
last night, someone said I had a gig. I gig probably once or twice a week on average. Some weeks I do 3, some weeks I do none. Then last night I got a thing saying, the bar that this gig was booked at, like £100 gig 3 weeks from now. Like the bar's pulled out of it. We've had to cancel it, even though they'd sold all the tickets and whatever. So it's not like no one was coming. And it's like I didn't have to worry about that. Was just pocket money. Do you know what I mean? On the top, but that was, and so in those moments I kind of feel grateful for it. But it's like it's really hard. I don't know why Hub's Life has prompted such a sincere chat between us.
But I just think that's and I do think that's why it's gone as big as it has.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's what people do relate to is especially at that. He's sort of. I was about to say, he's very openly 29. He's very openly 29. But I think it hits on that kind of mini crisis that a lot of people have at this age.
Yeah, right.
Of what do I prioritise? Stick or twist. And he's stuck.
And
whilst twisting at the same time. The cunt.
And now it's turned out he's twisting all along.
What's really happened is he's having his cake and eating it whilst making schmucks like us go, well, it's nice to just have a small piece of cake, isn't it? Maybe we don't need cake. This fucking idiot's fucking squeezing cake out of his ears.
The equivalent would be me being like, I'm not going to do comedy anymore, and then being on Live at the Apollo next month. Like
talking about how you don't do comedy anymore. Literally, you're Live at the Apollo says, so this is why I quit the stand-up. Nanette,
you should all quit.
Anyway, have we got one more?
Don't waste my time. The last one, and this is and we'll finish on this because it's like the difference between the beginning.
We've done fucking ages, by the way.
Yeah, no. I think it's talking about memorial videos for myself earlier, and then talking about comedy afterwards. This is in the previous video, you don't see any family. It's kind of implied he's like on his own as well, which I think is disingenuous because he's had a wife for years.
Yeah, agree.
And like that's one thing I would take issue with slightly. All of those videos, he's on his own. He's driving back and forth from work on his own. Yeah. Turns out, after all this, now he's got 1 million followers, and he's got this house in Dallas. He's got a wife and he's got a baby on the way, and he's loving it. So this is kind of, we'll talk maybe a bit about ITV2 Americans. This is the baby shower for Hub's life and his missus. The joyous music you'd associate with a baby being born here. It's the theme tune from Interstellar, I think. Does this little... There you go.
Hate that. That really ruins it. What the fuck? What?
That was weird. Weird
Put
way
his
of
wedding ring back on after sleeping with a fucking prostitute last night. Head downtown. Never know.
Where was the missus? She was there already. Was she at home?
For wifey. Where does wifey live? Fucking shed in the garden. Child surprised her halfway through.
Fucking baby shower was more plush than my wedding was.
So much love for our friends and family.
It's very odd music, to be fair. We're all getting pissed. Big picture. Present for the wifey. She loved it. She don't mind being on camera anymore now either. And this is the deal with the devil, isn't it?
Help take all the gifts home. Dog thinks the presents are for him as he gets this fucking...
Got a load of presents there, isn't he?
Jesus Christ. Baby Campton is spoiled.
So this is the thing, they've already named their baby. Baby Campton, unless that's his second name, maybe.
Could be.
Hubs Campton. Jet Puckett and Hubs Campton.
There you go.
Now, I think that's a good place to leave it, because that's where he's ended up. He started making these videos, normal life, made it look like he lived on his own, some kind of weird bachelor, drinking beers and whiskies every night. Actually, with a moon lamp, like a baby for a baby. And I hope that Hub's life, in a way, returns, because this is getting dangerously close to like Mrs. Hinch areas, this is, with him doing his like baby showers and stuff. I hope he returns to the grinding normality of his office job, and he sacks off all of the kind of stuff with the wife and stuff. Leave her out of it. She wants a normal life. Let her have a normal life. Don't put her on camera in front of 1 million people.
And you feel there's a kind of ITV2 crossover with the kind. Do you, like? I guess, are you saying they're basic? Do you think that's like American basic?
I wonder if, and I think I sense a lot of that in the antipathy towards him in the comments, where it's like, this depressing dude needs to kill himself and stuff. Which is like, I don't agree with it at all. We've on record, we like it. We like a normal life. I don't want to be like some top jaw bloke with a favourite hummus or whatever. But I do think that there is a slight basicness to him of being like, there's a self kind of. What's the word, like aggrandizement in how normal I am. Look at how normal I am. Like,
but I guess similar to like, we've said this before. I really like the ITV2 new build people, and again, I think similar. I'm like, at least he's appreciative of it. Do you know what I mean? And
and you cannot disagree with that. I think, and like you say, if you can get up in the morning and you can have your coffee and you can have a smile on your face, and if you can go to work and you can actually get your laptop in your bag because Mango the cat's not in there, then every day can be a beautiful thing. And every day you can look up at the sky and think, God, how lucky I am to be here, sat in my mate's spare room while his feral cat gives me fucking rabies and my heart rate goes through the roof. Thanks very much for watching, everyone.
God bless the rotters.
See you next week.
I'm telling you.